All right, everybody, welcome back. Joining us now, we've got Ken and Laksha from VLS, that is Validating Lightning Signer. And as I said before we started this, I know nothing about this. So either Ken or Laksha, I don't know who wants to explain it, but
Well, I'll just dive
what
in.
is this?
So with Bitcoin, you have custody when you are keeping Bitcoin in your wallet.
Mhm.
And if you want to keep it very safe, a very good thing to do is to make it cold. So you would take your wallet and remove the keys and put the Bitcoin effectively offline, so it's not connected to anything. Unfortunately, that doesn't work with Lightning, because in order for Lightning to work, the money needs to be in a channel, which means it's active and it's on the blockchain, and you need to be signing commitments and performing the protocol all the time. So the wallet is unfortunately hot, and all of the funds are in it all the time. So it is a more perilous, it's more dangerous than Bitcoin, where you can simply make things cold usually. And therefore, you need to do special things to make Lightning secure. So the VLS project is oriented towards creating the software which could be used in hardware. So basically, a hardware wallet for Lightning is one way to think about it. So you would have your core Lightning node, and then you would attach a validating Lightning signer to it. And if the node were attacked, if it were completely compromised, in fact, VLS will make sure that you don't lose your funds.
That's really cool.
Yep.
I am like, that's actually okay. So how far along have you guys gotten into this?
Oh,
I mean,
we're in production.
oh,
So
really?
yes,
Okay, so
our customers are in production.
so just to back up though, it actually is a signing device, but specifically for Sats on the Lightning Network, or
Correct.
am I
Yeah,
okay?
right. A
Cool.
device it's really software which can run in a device. Today, I gave a demo of such a device.
Okay.
But you can also just run the software in a container, in a Docker container, or you can run the
Or in a
software
VM?
standalone, or in a VM.
Yeah.
So all those are possible. Yes.
Interesting. Okay, so are any of the current hardware wallet slash signing device manufacturers right now, have they started or like looking into this? Or because it sounds to me like it's like some type of like a firmware that they would install that would allow for this functionality. Am I wrong or close?
Close.
Okay.
Let's see. If you're comparing a Lightning VLS wallet to a Bitcoin wallet, the VLS wallet needs more resources. It needs more RAM, because there's a lot more. In order
Okay.
to be validating, we
Yeah.
have to actually pay attention to everything and remember
Yes.
everything. So we can't allow a closing transaction, for example, to give more money to the counterparty than they're entitled to.
Okay.
So let's say a channel is 50-50 split, and then the closing transaction that the node gives you to sign says give 100% of it to the counterparty. VLS will say, no way, we're not going to sign that.
Okay.
So that's how it protects you. If you just signed things remotely, that would add some security, but not enough. That's called blind signing.
Yeah.
And an analogy that I've been using is that if you had a truck depot where there was a big building with lots of trucks pulling up and boxes going out of some trucks and being put into other trucks, VLS is like the trustworthy accountant with a clipboard who makes sure that the right stuff is on every truck. So like if a truck has too many boxes or unknown boxes, we don't let it go.
Very interesting.
So that's how it protects your trucking industry in that case.
Okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Protects your node.
Validating the data on the trucks.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty good. So, let me switch gears to Laksha. What are you doing in regards to this particular project?
Okay, so I
Just, if you can hold the microphone up, yeah.
So I
Close
recently
as you can to your mouth.
joined the project, I think last July. So fairly recent with it, and I'm mostly looking at the engineering side of things. So earlier we wanted a setup to quickly test things out. So we set up the Docker system so that we can quickly set things up and running and try things out and fast. So that was one thing. I got involved as a project intern, where I got involved in performance benchmarking the things to ensure that the operations we are doing are as Lightning says, lightning fast speed. So these were the kind of projects I'm getting involved in, and recently we've been looking on the security side of things. integrating the TXO and the recovery mechanisms into the system. So these are the future aspects.
When you say recovery mechanisms, can you expand on that a bit?
So right now, the recovery mechanisms are in assets documented well enough. So when it comes, so your node crashes, you need to do manual operations to get the node state back up and running,
Okay.
or do a cleaning of HTLCs to proceed with that. So in future, we'd want that process to become easier, so the friction is very less.
Let me put a spin on that for
Okay,
you.
cool. Yeah.
Let's say you are using a node that's in the cloud. So
Yeah.
Greenlight is an example of that.
Or like voltage?
Or maybe like voltage. I know less about voltage.
Okay.
Greenlight's actually using VLS. So
Oh,
if
okay.
you're using Greenlight, then you're using a VLS signer.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But the point is, if at some point you become convinced that the node is not friendly anymore, maybe it's
Mm,
been compromised, maybe you
Yeah.
just want a different business relationship, you should be able to take your signer and point it at a different node and recover all your funds. So that's what we mean by recovery. So the signer is protecting your funds, and if the node becomes uncooperative, unavailable, or for any reason is not doing its job, then you should be able to recover your funds through a different mechanism. That's
Interesting.
the guarantee, if you will. And so there's a lot of work to be done there. We want to make that very smooth. We don't want you to have to be a computer expert to recover your funds.
I was going to say, because I definitely am one of those people who was reckless with Lightning. And once upon a time, I had an issue with my node. And instead of trying to troubleshoot it, I didn't even think of what I had in my channels. I was like, you know what? I'm like, I'll just reinstall this from scratch.
Yep.
And right there, of course, after I reinstalled, I was like, oh
Lost the
no,
funds.
my channels, I never backed up the channel file. So yes,
Yes.
I completely understand. Okay, so anyway, switching gears out of my ridiculous anecdotal story
No.
and back to reality. So are you getting a lot of attention from hardware manufacturers in relation to this product? How do you feel about because I always find in Bitcoin, right, it's always very mixed, right? Either like sometimes you'll come out with something and everyone's just, that's it, they're willing to give the shirt off their back for it. It's just the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then other things are just like, you are just evil, and what you've done is horrible.
Yeah.
So-
We're getting plenty of attention.
Okay.
I
Good
can't
or bad?
say. Oh no, good.
Okay.
People are interested.
Okay.
I can't say very much though, because those sorts of things, and we're an open source project, and they have no secrets. It's all available, and everyone can look at it all. The one thing that we do have to be careful with though is our partners' plans and stuff like that. So we're try not to say too much.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
We let
That's
them do
why.
their announcements.
Yeah. I was just looking to see, like, is there buzz, or not?
We'd like more. So
Of course.
that's
All right, so maybe
we're
we gotta get you guys to come on the Pleb Underground, our weekly show, and just sit down with you two and go through the whole thing from the beginning then as well.
we'd be glad to.
Cool, very very cool.
Yeah, because one thing there is, so anyone we have talked to right now in the conference, they want to set up a signer on their Lightning nodes if they are running it. So that is certainly there. People are excited about it.
Right, very cool. So right now the enthusiast, right, like the person who just wants to set this up, how can they do this? Like
Yes.
what? Okay, cool.
Yeah, we have pretty extensive directions. If you go to our main repo, there's a contrib directory, and then in the contrib directory is a subdirectory called how to, and there's summaries of how to do everything. There's like 20 of them in there. So
Can you do this through Windows?
Yeah. So
I'm just asking because, of course, right, there's always going to be the instructions for like Linux. There's always going to be like the Mac instructions. And then there's like for Windows, it's just like use installer.exe.
so one thing that is there.
Or there's no instructions.
So the reason that people don't generally support Windows is because installing those dependencies is a little difficult.
Yes.
So the easier part is if you have Docker on your Windows.
Yeah.
Docker will do that for you.
Okay.
Your Windows system. So that is the easiest part. If you are on Windows, you can spin up a Docker container with a Linux image, and that's easy as that. So it will do everything for you. So you can definitely do it on Windows, and we have the instructions there.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, guys, look, I really appreciate you sitting down, talking with us, explaining this. This project sounds absolutely amazing. I'm excited. I was a Lightning enthusiast from the beginning because I was too dumb to figure out Bitcoin Core, but I'm like, this stuff I can actually work on. So Thank you very, very much, guys.
Thank you
Really
very much
appreciate
for
it.
having us.
Thank
Real
you.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
And guys, this is Validating Lightning Signer, VLS. We will catch you later with the next guests. Take it easy.
Time for a mic drop.